Okay, so what we're going to call this one is called, okay, the bowels of hell. The bowels of hell. Okay, all right. And I'm telling you right now, I don't want to be nasty, but it should be called the bowels of hell, because that is the main thing that's undermining every American and almost every person on the planet. See, I can almost say every American, because there's no way that they would have finished a study saying that 99% of all Americans have parasites. And now the reason why we have parasites is why? Can somebody tell me? Go.
The invisible creates
The vibration.
No, because you all have a private manure pile sitting in your core. Okay? All right? And that's why your core is hanging on the floor. Most people, if you take a look at them, you know, they look anywhere from 2 months to 12 months pregnant, right? And that is gas. That's why even you guys, I mean, if you know, my stomach goes up, my stomach goes down, my stomach goes up. And when your stomach goes up, that means that you are creating bad bacteria that were giving off really toxic gas. Good bacteria, look, even a Maserati will backfire sometimes, but not, and then not be so stinky, and then, you know, and then not have all that gray smoke coming out. Do you understand? So understand, backfiring is okay every once in a while, okay? All right, don't you love it? Backfire. Yeah, and if you don't believe me, put a lighter there, okay? All right, so just understand this, that every one of you have a manure pile going on to the point of, and I'm going to tell you this is the truth. There's a lot of natural health practitioners out there, and they teach bowel cleansing, correct? And they teach that you should do like a 2 weeks to, depends on what you learn. You do a 2-week bowel cleanse, or do a 4-week bowel cleanse, do it every 3 months, or do it every 6 months, or do it every year. How would you like to never ever have a bowel cleanse again? You don't have to. You don't have to cleanse your bowels. Now, if you didn't have to cleanse your bowels, that means you wouldn't have to get rid of parasites. If you didn't have to cleanse your bowels, you wouldn't have to get rid of bad bacteria. If you didn't have to cleanse your bowels, you wouldn't have to get rid of the fungus. Okay? All right? So understand this. The bowel, the large intestine, is the Holy Grail. Okay? On a physical level, there's not a more important organ. I already told you. How many times does the bowel speak, okay, compared to the brain, okay? 9 from the bowel, 1 from the brain, okay? And what is the bowel speaking, or is it the bacteria?
bacteria.
Okay, if it's the bacteria speaking, and we know right now, and I know you're not going to believe this, but it's a fact. They did a huge study here in the United States, and here we go, all right? Only 2% of the population in the United States right now has more than 5% good bacteria. So we know that the Royal Society of Medicine actually did a study, and this was years ago. I mean, we're talking about this was 40 years ago, maybe 35 years ago they did the study. Now in this study, what they came across was, now this is the medical system of Great Britain. This wasn't some natural organization, okay? Because back then you were allowed to tell the truth. Back then, in the Guyton Medical Manual, up until I think 20 years ago, in the Guyton Medical Manual, you saw an enema bag. They took the enema bag out. Do you understand? Okay, so they stated, the Royal Society of Medicine stated that, ready? 85% of all illness comes from the large intestine. And I can tell you right now, it's 95 to 98 on a physical level. It's 95 to 98 on a physical level, okay? Now, I am never going to disregard that the psychological rules the biological, okay? But understand, we're not talking about that now. And most people will never ever deal with the psychological, will they? They only deal with their biological, and they only deal with their biological when they are in pain, when they have swelling, when they have stiffness, when they have inflammation. Okay? And understand, all of those symptoms I just gave you is love messages from your body. You need to write that down. All of these symptoms are love messages. Okay, if we weren't granted, okay, the GPS of pain, you'd all be dead. There'd be none of us left, because we'd be eating and we'd be mistreating ourselves, eating, drinking, thinking, everything. If you didn't experience any what you call negative symptoms, which are just messages from your body. So what happens if your child is doing something and injuring themselves? You're going to tell your child that, right? Okay. Usually your child will listen to you. When your body is giving you messages that you are out of alignment and you are disrespecting it, you tell it to shut up. You tell it to shut up. You either suppress it with food, or you do it with drugs. Or guess what? If you have the army attitude or the warrior so-called attitude, all right, you're going to push through the pain. Push through the pain. And that has got to be the dumbest ass thing I've heard in my life, is to push through the pain. No, it is get and have a beautiful relationship with the pain. Oh my God, thank you, body. At least you're still creating pain and letting me know when I'm out of alignment so I can come right back. Now, none of you are actually taught that pain is your friend. You're taught it's an enemy, so you're going to run away. You're going to run to the doctor. You're going to tell it to shut up. Remember, medical system never has healed anybody in their life. They're not meant for that. They're meant to numb you out. They're meant to numb the pain out. I already told you yesterday that pain, inflammation, okay, all right, the pain and the inflammation, and they call it mutation, but the suffocation, when you take a drug, you no longer alerted that you are suffocating your cells. There is only one cause of what they call cancer, and it's called suffocation, and you understand that now. An 8-year-old could understand that now. Dr. Otto Warburg received the Nobel Prize for discovering the cause of cancer, and that's 35% deficiency in oxygen in your cells for more than 3 days. It could be less, it could be more. Do you understand? This stuff is not a science, but it's close enough that he's the only one who received the Nobel Prize. Now you go to any doctor, I don't care who you go to, you're an oncologist, and go, what's the cause of cancer? Genetics. Okay, and we got to do this before we do this, guys. So hundreds of millions of dollars were spent of taxpayers' money because the medical system would never spend their own money. Okay, right? And you believe that you can't look after yourself, you're going to let them look after yourself. So you're so grateful that they're going to keep on doing their research. Okay? So the reality is they did what was called the Genome Project, and they were going to nail this, and they were going to put this sucker down for good forever. We're going to win this thing. And I think they got carried away. They went about genetic diseases, and they found out that everything is epigenetic. There are 3 rare diseases. I'm not going to get into it, and they are so rare you'll never hear of anybody having it. And guess what? They said we think that those could be genetic, because you couldn't just say they're not, none of them. So in the book it says there's 3 of them. Okay, we found 3 because, you know, wouldn't want to spend hundreds of millions of dollars and then find out that the whole thing was for naught. And did they send out a report to all of you to your email, or let you know that they did the Genome Project and there is no genetic diseases and there is no genetic cancers? So all of those women that have chopped their breasts off, okay, I think somebody owes an apology here. Okay, all right, so now we know that pain, first of all, the first thing you're ever going to get is you're going to get pain. To the degree of the pain is when it first starts, when there's a problem in your body, it's not that big, is it? It's a little thing. It's like a nagging. You know those little nags you have? And then the same nagging, you keep having it for years? Well, that's going to put you in the nursing home. That's going to put you in hospice. And that's going to bring you down, baby. Because guess what? If you were married, and you can see there's a little bit of smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. You know, honey, can we talk about something? Not right now, I'm busy. Not right now, I'm busy. Not right now, I'm busy. You know what happens? Do you know what disease is? There is no diseases. It's you telling your body to shut up. Shut the hell up. I don't want to hear from you. I'm the master. You just shut up. So now that body's on fire and you've got pain. It's not going away until you recognize it, until you love it, until you care for it. But you don't know how. You went all the way through high school, probably went through university, and you know that if you're a medical doctor, you don't even know how to look after a human being. You do not. You know how to cut something out if it's bothering them? Well, you didn't have to cut it out. All you had to do was go in and love it, and it would heal itself. Any scar tissue, any calcification in the body, calcification can be put back into the bones. The scar tissue is so tough, that fibroid, that tumor, can be turned back into beautiful connective tissue. But what if you've always disrespected yourself? What if you've always allowed people to disrespect you? You need to go get surgery, and you'll need to get drugs. So the people that do not want to learn how to love, honor, and respect themselves and create a perfect day, on a perfect day, right? You all got the perfect day guide? We give the perfect day guide away free. If a perfect person has a perfect day, they don't have to be in pain. I will always show up for everything. Unless there was some kind of what we would call, the world would call the tragedy in my family, I will be there for them. But I will never ever not show up because I'm sick. There's nothing sick about me. You understand? You can't be sick unless you're sick. Okay, you can't be poor unless you have poor program. You can't be angry unless you have an angry program. And understand, and none of this is any of your fault, but you've got to waken up to it. We all got screwed over. We all have our stories. We all were abused, but most of us are going to stay being abused because we've been dumbed down so much that we believe that we cannot master this beautiful body that is God-given. Okay. Let's go back to the bowel. Let's go back to this. So I said that you all have your own private manure pile. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that if I take a good whiff in your armpits that I'm not going to smell poop. Because when armpits smell, you're smelling poo. And if you're not smelling poo, you're smelling fungus. That's mold. And sometimes it'll be half mold, half poo. And you're going to think that I'm not very nice. But most old people smell like pepperoni and soap mixed together. Right? And that's what that is. That's the poo particles and the mold seeping out through their pores. Okay? That's it. And guess what? All of the older people that are in all the nursing homes, if we gave them daily cleansing tea and black gold, and we just taught them a couple of things, they wouldn't have to take all their drugs and be in all their suffering and all their pain and everything. You have to understand something. Nobody cares for you. The system does not care for you. And we're at a point right now that we don't care for the elderly, do we? You never even think about the elderly. You wouldn't be here unless it was for the elderly. Yeah, that's my next big project, I would love to find somebody that was like really had millions of dollars and create a place. And the government's not allowed to come in. And then actually, everything I know, I would then take the elderly, and guess what? We would make them youthful again. And I know I can do it. I know I can do it. That'll be my next project. Everybody goes, you got to help the children, Daryl. Well, I can't, because guess what? Parents are taught that they own their children no matter how they poison them. Okay? All right? It's a setup. You know what I mean? But if we can prove that we can take people that have irreversible diseases and we can reverse them and give them back their youth in their life, I think that'd be a good thing, right? So I'd rather go and do that. Okay? All right? Because it's very hard to, it's not like you can get a young child and go, listen, you need to go home and tell your mommy and daddy they're poisoning you. And every time that you're good, they give you a treat and they poison you more. All right? And your mommy and daddy, they love you, but they're adulterated. They don't even know how to love themselves or care for themselves. And if you didn't notice, mommy and daddy don't even like each other. So they're probably not going to like you when you start to walk and talk, because you're going to act like them. And then you're going to start getting spanked and judged and put in your bedroom. And then by the time you're 12 years old, you're going to want to pull down your pants and see if you can get filled with love. All right, are we done yet? Okay, so I'm not going in that jungle. Okay? Not going into that jungle. All right? So anyways, I said that we all have our own private manure pile. Well, the reality is this. I mean, how many of you have good breath in the morning? Okay? And the reality is have you ever not turned over to kiss your lover? And Please, honey, go brush your teeth. Somebody just crapped in your mouth. I don't know how they got into bed and they snuck out. But holy crap. Okay, all right? Okay. I'm not licking that ashtray. All right, so listen. So you need to understand something. When you smell poop coming, I mean, I sweat, but I do not ever stink. I don't ever stink. All right? Because why? Poison free, not organic. Somebody went on here and go, oh yeah, you're just like everybody else. You're after our money. Okay, first you told us we needed organic. I never said you needed organic. It's on Facebook. Now you're telling us something different. Everything to try to confuse us and get our money. I didn't even discuss money. Where did I discuss money? Oh yeah, daily cleansing tea, black gold. Okay, take me away. Guilty as charged. Okay, this is the stuff. You know what? You have to deal with this insanity, and you know what you got to do? You got to have empathy for everyone, because everybody's sick and tired up to here. They've been lied to and go this direction, that direction. Let me tell you something, okay? My name is Dr. Darryl Wolfe, and I will give you a money-back guarantee. If you do what you're supposed to do, we'll turn you around. That's it. I am not like other people. Let's make that perfectly straight. And if you didn't notice it, if you go to look me up, it's like I murder people and steal their money. Why do you think those stories are out there? You're not allowed to empower people. Just get that. But you guys, you are allowed. I'm allowed. You see, I'm going to do it anyway. But let me make this perfectly clear. 90% of what I speak about, or even 95%, there's no money attached to it. I give you more information. I've been giving you more information in this course than you've been given your whole life.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's real. And it's empowering. You know why it's empowering? Because I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm not trying to sell you a treatment. Understand something, everyone. When you become a practitioner, your goal is to make practitioners. You are not making and feeding victims anymore. And the whole world has got victimitis, the only virus that is killing anyone. All right? And when you have somebody come into you, you do a treatment on them while you're talking. You don't talk about the weather and politics. You talk about things that you notice. Hey, do you notice that da-da-da, da-da-da? Just things that you know that you're going to get right. They can be small, get them right. Little things. Wow, how did you know that? Well, you know, it's in my training, you know. We're able to scan the body, and that's the way we test people. We don't do x-rays and things of that nature. We do x-rays with our heart and with our mind, and we take a look at you and we look at everything, because Chinese diagnosis has been around for hundreds of thousands of years, and they're the best at it. So in your perfect day guide at pdgfree.com, people can get it. It tells you all the symptoms of what things are. And this is older than any science. It's the real science. Okay, let's get back to this. So here's the deal. So we know that 99% of the population is always dealing with worms. Okay? And guess what? The main thing, ready? Low vibrational programs playing your subconscious that were not God-given but man-driven. You got to get that. There's not one person in here that has their authentic God-given spirit, okay, personality yet. I'm included. We're talking about thousands of years of programming here. Now, remember that manure pile? Let's get that manure pile here, okay? I can maybe get a dump truck today, and we'll dump a big pile of manure right in the middle here, okay? This will be the last, for the last day, because it will be stinky. So we're going to bring the manure pile in here, and then all of us, there's 30 of us here. We're going to pick out all the worms and all the bad bacteria, and we're going to get rid of all the fungus, okay? And then we're going to tape all the windows and doors so that none can get in here. We'll come back the next morning, and what's going to be there? Well, where'd it come from? The vibration dictates who lives there. If you want to send bad bacteria packing, fungus packing, worms packing, and we can't send viruses packing because they couldn't pack because they're not alive. And viruses are just the waste product of a toxic cell from somebody who doesn't know how to unconditionally love and care for themselves. And nobody's going to believe this.
that can't be true. People die of viruses everywhere. Well, I know they do. They got the ding-a-ding.
So understand, it's so ridiculous out there. We can't even touch this stuff. So anyways, we know that all of that's going to come back. Did anybody ever visit a barn or a farm and you walk in, especially a pig barn, because that's the most toxic. When you go in, you gas. You can't hardly breathe. Yeah, you know, it takes you a few minutes, you know. Like farmers actually will die in a pig barn unless it airs properly, because they will actually suffocate. You do know that. It's called brain suffocation. My uncle, okay, he suffocated from lack of oxygen because the manure was so toxic with ammonia in the actual barn. So, yeah, it's ammonia. Well, guess what? What do you think's burning your butt on the way out? Ammonia. Okay, now, so let's talk about this. So if you've got stagnation of waste, stagnation, and guess what? You can go to anybody and go, how's your bowel movements? Good. Well, first of all, you were taught not to talk about it. First of all, the first thing that any adult should have done was taught their children to look at their poop every day and then show them what good poop is. In the Perfect Day Guide, you'll see what a good poop is for your child at 2. You'll see what a good poop is all the way through. And you know what? Okay. So do you know what a bowel movement is? It's a computer printout. So the bowel movement you have today is the computer printout from yesterday. And it is the greatest information you'll ever have. But guess what? You never thought about that before. It's called flush and run. Isn't it? Flush and run. Well, I don't want to see it. My God, it was so hard to try to get it out. Why do I hang around with it? It's not even a friend. Okay? So the reality is this, is bad breath is halitosis, and halitosis means you have worms. Stinky armpits, you have worms. Stinky vagina, you have worms. Okay, did you get that? All right? Okay. So just know this, okay, that the whole world has been taught this. Okay, first of all, we don't squat when we go to the pot, do we? We get to sit on the throne, okay, with our legs together, okay? So I won't tell you I do it all the time, but guess what? Doesn't matter. When I'm not in a hurry, when I'm at home, I stand right on the toilet seat, right? And that's how I go number 2. I stand on the toilet seat, all right? And, you know, when I thought about well, already I was taught when I was younger to not like East Indians, right? But when I used to think about, you know, oh, these people are so dirty. You know, they got a hose, there's a hole. You know, when I went to get my acupuncture license, I went to Sri Lanka. And when I went there the first time, and it's amazing how ignorant you are. You know, okay, so where's the bathroom? Oh, it's in the back, okay? All right, so I go in the back, and there's a hole, and there's a hose. Where's the bathroom? It's in the back. No, it's not. Is it right or left? No, it's. Anyway, so that's what it is. And understand something. Are you ready for this? So they are more hygienic than we are. They wash their hands after. And understand, guess what you do? You close your legs. You don't go down and do a squat. So you don't open up your pelvis. So you can't have a complete bowel movement sitting on the throne, Miss King or Queen. Okay? Now you're king, you know, SH, okay? So understand, you can't have a complete bowel movement with your legs closed. You can't. You can't deliver a baby with your legs closed. Okay, that's why, you know, you squat to deliver a baby. But no, we still have to lay on our backs. What is wrong with you women? You know why you lay on your backs, right? Do you? Henry VIII had a peephole. He wasn't allowed to watch his women give birth, so he had a peephole, and that's the first time they made them lay on their back so that he could watch. Because the church wouldn't let him come in and watch, but they allowed him his peephole so he could watch. And that's why you lay on your back. So whenever you go to give birth again, you gotta lay on your back, look for the peephole. Okay, all right, so anyways, so we know that everybody in here is not going to the bathroom properly, and that's a fact, okay? We were supposed to eat so much more live, whole food fiber, okay? And you know, I gotta tell you something, I'm not against meat eaters, but I'm telling you, if you eat meat every day, there's no way you're okay. There's no way. How many dead animals does it take to bring you back alive? Okay, remember something, we are light energy, electrical magnetic beings. And I'm not telling you not to do animal protein. We're not here to do a debate. I'm not going to. Does anybody, like I said yesterday, does anybody notice? The vegetarians and the meat eaters are now at war. Does nobody ever get this? You know what? They want us at war with our religion, with color, with language, with food, anything they can do. It's a distraction. I will not go to war with anyone. Guess what? You're all right. I'm not going to battle with anybody. You're right. Because I need to love you anyway. And I'm not going to sit in judgment of anyone. It's your life. Okay, let's get back to it. All right. So, remember this. That every time that your belly swells, you're making bad bacteria. And the bad bacteria are gassing off. And those bacteria are called endobacterium. And those bacteria are very toxic. And they create ammonia that will eat away at your lining. What do you think colitis is? So stagnation creates putrefaction. Putrefaction creates what? Infection. Infection creates inflammation. Inflammation creates scar tissue formation, ulceration, okay, and excessive mucus production, all right? Now, the large intestine is the holy grail. The large intestine is a compost. So what you put in here gets composted in here. Guess what? You give me a woman, not a vegetarian, you give me a woman that eats a whole plant-based, okay, poison-free diet. You got the most high, vibrant, healthy baby you've ever had in your life. The baby, right, is right here, around here, this area, right? So here's the cecum, coming up, ascending, transverse, descending, sigmoid. The baby is either sitting in the middle of a compost that's creating good bacteria, high vibrations, because your bacteria are 85% of your immune system, or your baby's sitting in the middle of a sewer dump. And with most women, your baby's in the middle of a sewer dump. Okay. Every woman and every man today has leaky gut. There's no such thing as leaky gut. It's leaky large intestine. If you had a leaky gut, it would be like somebody took a machine gun, and when you drank water, it all comes out like the cartoons. You know, but here's health professionals telling us we have a leaky gut. We are so numbed out that health professionals are telling people they have leaky guts. Why don't you tell them they have a leaky large intestine, which is the truth? They're not even on the money. Most of the natural health people that you go to, because medical doctors, they're not on the money. They're taking your money, and that's that, so I don't really care. Have a tantrum and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, but just look around you and open up your eyes. But most natural health practitioners won't tell you that you have a leaky large intestine, and that's all you have. Does everybody know that there's glyphosate in every product that's made by food corporations today? Does everybody know that there is antibiotics in every animal product and every animal byproduct that you eat that isn't pasture raised, okay, and poison free? I'm not going to say organic anymore, because I'm telling you, we're all getting screwed over. Getting screwed over. And I'll make it really quick because that's not what the story's about. But a lot of organic stuff is being made by Bill Gates. And he's growing it on dead soil and then he gets to have his organic thing on there, and then it's going to be seedless too, and it's not going to have any nutrition, and he's going to charge you 3 times more than just poison-free food that isn't stamped. Did you get what I just said? So I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but that was one of the main driving forces why we said, you know what, we're getting out of America, we're going to Mexico. Oh yes, where they're going to kill us. There's no herbicide, there's no pesticide, and there's no genocide down there, and nobody's ever bothered us in 4.5 years. It's been the most peaceful experience we've ever had. We don't have government crawling up our butt. We don't have anybody saying anything. We're so free down there. It's amazing. So, but the reality is, I said, look, we got to go down there. We'll let our people come down where they won't be hassled by government. We can treat them better. And then guess what? They can pay less, right? And that's what we want to do. Give more, pay less. All right? Okay, so let's go back to the manure pile. So the reality is, whether you want to believe this or not, okay, I'm going to prove to you right now, I'm going to go through the chart. I'm going to prove to you that 98% of all surgeries, hip surgeries, are done because you were pooping in your pelvis for years. I'm going to prove that low back surgery is because you were pooping in your pelvis. I'm going to prove that you would not have had any ovarian cysts, okay, if you weren't pooping in your pelvis. I'm going to prove to you that 95% of all women that are infertile were pooping in their pelvis. I'm going to prove to you that you only have an inflamed prostate because you're pooping in your pelvis. I'm going to prove to you that why prostate cancer is going through the roof, and in the last 5 years it's gone up 400%, and they said it's going to go up 4,000% in the next 5. And that's because men are rotting out, okay? And if you don't believe me, then why is it that a man reaches his sexual potential at 27, and from there it's downhill? And it used to be they would still have babies at 77. You got it? Okay, all right. Okay. And believe it or not, we can blame it on a whole bunch of other things. We really can. But it's mainly because you're pooping in your pelvis. So understand, glyphosate, okay? Glyphosate is the big one, okay? And that's the Roundup, okay? That's where, remember even 20 years ago, you'd see the guy next door, your neighbor, and he would have this jug on his back, and he'd have like these 2 sprayers, and I didn't know what he was doing, and he was a 2-gun kid poisoning his dog and his kids. That's what he was doing. And understand something, does everybody know that more glyphosate is actually sprayed in lawns of the, where people live than even in the farming? So they do it on, all corporations use glyphosate because glyphosate, they say it because it keeps the grains fresher longer and it dries them quicker. Bullshit. Bullshit. Yes, it does, but that's not why they did it. All we got to do is find a couple of reasons. If it wasn't that, they'd come up with another reason. Do you understand? Oh, it's bug-free. How would you like to have bug-free food? Yeah, and that bug-free food is going to go into you, and it's going to get rid of your good bugs, and you're going to have bad bugs, okay? So glyphosate is there to murder. And just remember something right now. Just remember something right now, okay? All right? Who bought Monsanto? Bayer. And who was in charge of the concentration camps in the war? Bayer. You get it? All right. So understand something. I'm not gonna go out there and try to attack them. Okay? They're not going anywhere. Because the majority of the population doesn't care about Bayer. They just want to get rid of their headache. And they don't realize that they are the headache. All right? Okay. All right, so I'm going to prove that 95% of all low back surgery is actually caused because you're pooping in your pelvis. All right? I'm going to prove that the swelling that you have in your body is from pooping in your pelvis. Okay? All right? I'm going to prove that endometriosis is caused from pooping in your pelvis. I'm going to prove that fibroids are caused from pooping in your pelvis, and fibroids in your breast are caused from pooping in your pelvis. I'm going to prove that you have lymph problems because you were pooping in your pelvis. How am I doing so far? Okay. I'm going to prove that you have liver problems because you backed up so much waste in your large intestine, okay, that you backed up your liver. Okay? All right. Okay, I'm going to prove that. All of this. Okay? I'm going to prove that the glyphosate and the antibiotics, now, and when I talk about antibiotics, we can talk about all the drugs, but the best antibiotic to the best drug to steal your life is not the one that numbs you out, the one that kills the bad bacteria when you take it. And understand something. I don't mind being challenged by you guys or anybody on here, so just know that. I'm not shy. But just know this, 15 years ago, people would say, and they'd say, what was the greatest medical breakthrough in history? Antibiotics. And it wasn't, it's the greatest breakdown. Okay? And understand something, everyone. I carry products, and I can scientifically prove this, that are more powerful than any antibiotic. More powerful than any antibiotic, and absolutely no negative side effects. None. So don't give me your BS, okay? Everybody are just puppets, right? You're parrots, actually, you're puppets and parrots. And you just go, what is the greatest breakthrough that ever invented? And then you heard it and you went.
You know what the breakthrough?
So let's talk about what's really happening. So we know that there's glyphosate and antibiotics right through the whole supermarket. We know that now supermarkets throughout the United States, 1% of the food is edible. Take a look at the shopping carts, how full they are. And I'll say this, and there'll be people on here, and guess what? All right? They'll go to the supermarket this week and they'll fill up the cart because everything is done through programming. We are not stupid, we're programmed. People are not stupid, so don't call them stupid. They're programmed, right? And we are, whether you want to believe it or not, we follow the herd. And if you're not going to break away from the herd, you're going to go to the butchers. That's it. So, okay, here we go. Everything has a vibration, right? You have a vibration, your vibration's different than Harold's, right? But meanwhile, you've come together because your vibrations match enough that you can put up with each other, right? No? Oh, we got problems. Okay. And you'll always be able to put up with each other and even more if you learn your two spirit beings that came together. We were talking earlier, and I just wanted to say this. This is all you had to do when you're getting in a relationship, is to sign one contract. Honey, am I going to be able to tell you when something annoys me or you're doing something that I think could hurt you or me? Absolutely. And if you went into a relationship like that, the two of you, you'd have the best life ever. Because somebody said to me on a break here, and I answered it, that people don't fall out of love. They just feed toxic programs until they don't love their life at all. And you can't love anybody else. That's all. That's all. You're going to see my vibrancy. I'll have this until I take my last breath. Okay? So let's talk about antibiotics. So I already told you that they are the weapon against us. Okay? Now, here's the deal. Has anybody noticed that whether you have an earache, an eye ache, a nose ache, any ache, you get antibiotics? The odd time you might not, but it's all about the antibiotics. Because you have to understand, the medical system have no go-to. And everything they give us attacks our body and tells our body to shut up. And I already told you, if you want to tell your body to shut up, you go from love message, but you don't call it a love message from your body because you don't have a good relationship with your body. You believe your body is attacking itself and attacking you. And I'm going to also prove to you that there is no what? There is no autoimmune diseases. The body doesn't attack itself, it attacks the poison that they poisoned us with. And so it goes after the poison, and wherever the poison is in the organ or in the tissue or in the joint, okay, it's going after that. So now they're going to give you a disease name that's related to the area where the body's trying to get rid of the poison. That's it. That's all. And nobody will come on and challenge me, right? Oh, he's just an idiot. That's all. But they're not going to come on and challenge me. You'd be surprised what people will do for money. Okay? All right. So here we go. So now when you take an antibiotic here, think about how ridiculous this is. I'm taking I'm going to give my child an antibiotic, they're going to swallow it, and the child has an earache. It's going to swallow it, it's going to travel, okay? In an adult, it'll travel 30 to 33 feet. In a child, it can be anywhere from 10 to, you know, up and above, depending on how far you go. I mean, age and how big you are, right? So you're going to give them something that's going to travel down their digestive tract, go into their colon, large intestine, holy grail of everything. And when it gets there, it goes off like an atomic bomb. What it does is the antibiotic turns the yeast into fungus. We'll get at that in a second. It takes the good bacteria and it damages the good bacteria, kills the bad bacteria as well. Okay? All right? It does kill the bad bacteria, but it damages the good bacteria. Every time you do antibiotics, you're constipated. Every time you do antibiotics, you might have diarrhea. And does everybody understand that diarrhea is the symptom of a terribly constipated person? So people don't get that either, okay? Diarrhea is an emergency call, okay? All right. So when you take the antibiotic, why does the antibiotic work like that? Because I told you that everything is a vibration, right? Does everybody know that essential oils, okay? Most of my nutraceuticals, they all vibrate as high as an essential oil or even higher. Okay? What is that? Concentrated light? And concentrated electricity. Light and electricity creates the vibration, and the lack of it creates a low vibration, right? Okay. All right. So now we take the antibiotic. Where does the antibiotic lie? If this is 0 and then the vibration goes up, antibiotics are down here somewhere. Yeah, they're a form of chemo. But understand something. They vibrate below 0. So if they vibrate below 0, if I say this, do you understand that they carry what we call the death vibe? When does your body vibrate at 0? Death. When something's dead, how long does it take for the fungus, okay, the fungus to start coming into it, the parasites and the bad bacteria? And understand, when something dies, okay, let's say if I died in my living room, okay? Are we going to see that there's going to be like an alarm go out to all the fungus and the worms and the bad bacteria, and you're going to see them jumping down the street and heading towards my house? Okay, let me just tell you a little story. So this summer, when you go to put fruit out, and the fruit is getting to a vibration that it should not be taken in, you'll see fruit flies. So when the vibration comes down in the fruit to heal, you get fruit flies. Now, when the vibration got low enough in the fruit, did you know what happens? You don't hear it because it's such a high pitch. There's a high pitch that goes out, and it's like, ee, and that's going out to fruit flies that could be miles away. And then they fly to your house. I made that up. That's such garbage. I can't believe you even fell for that. After you guys, you know, this is the 5th day of the course, for God's 6th day. I don't even know. You know what? I'm quitting. Oh, here they come. This is exactly what they've done to us. We trusted them. Okay. So anyway, so now the vibration comes low enough with the fruit that it's saying, you eat this today or it's not going to be good for you. And if your fruit goes bad and you see the fruit flies come quick, don't eat it and don't buy fruit from that place again. It never had any vibratory level. Okay, got it? Are we thinking a little? Stop complaining about this, because you just got to find it. Look for it. You'll find good food. There's good food wherever you are if you want to look for it, right? It doesn't matter where I live. I would find it, all right? But I'm not like that. I'm going to go to an environment that makes it really easy for me to rock, okay? All right. So anyways, So now, like I told you, the vibratory level comes down, the fruit flies are there, right? So the fruit flies were created from what? The rotting fruit. So the fruit flies were created, the invisible creates the physical. The invisible creates the physical. So guess what? Are you ready for this? Your bacteria convert into, good bacteria will convert into bad bacteria. Your yeast, which yeast is so needed in the body. It's in your mouth, it's throughout your body. So when somebody says, I have a yeast infection, no you don't. You have where the yeast is turned into a fungus. Now remember something. Don't forget the training I gave you. None of these things come along unless you have an anaerobic environment. Okay, so now we're going to go back through this. This is going to put it together for you today. By the time we get this done today, you're going to go, wow, with everything else we've learned, we got this. And guess what? Every person that talks to you that says that they know about healthcare, you're just going to be like, thanks for the info. Thank you. And that's all you're going to do. You're not going to try any health professional to try to teach them. You don't do that. Oh, unless, you know what? I'm kind of up for a challenge today, all right? Okay? I'd like to just really just waste a lot of energy. I am so pissed off. I go to my medical doctor and I try to explain about what really is going on. Okay. What's the point? What's your point? Okay. So anyways, the antibiotic comes in, vibrates below zero. What did it just tell the whole environment of your large intestine? It said that you are either dead or dying. So guess what you are? You put a vibe out that you're roadkill. And guess what? Is it hot in the colon? It's hot and it's moist. Oh, and by the way, there's some putrefactive material in there, and now we put the antibiotics in there, and what do we have? It's called the perfect storm. Are you getting this? Okay. All right. So now here's what happens. So we know that we'll take one at a time. The yeast goes into fungus, and guess what fungus is? I gave it a name like 30 years ago. Drill bit predator. Okay? So what fungus does, you're not supposed to be fungusy, and you know the people that you see with the brown spots, sun spots, liver spots, aging spots, call them what you want. It's mold coming up through your skin because you're a moldy oldie goldie and you could be young still. Okay, all right. But that's all reversible. It's all reversible, okay? Where's my brown spots? Okay, I don't have any, okay? All right. So I'll be 68, and even when I'm 78, I won't have them. And if I get one, I know what to do. I know I need to bring the vibe up. I know that's got to do with my liver and my bowel. That's where you get the mold. Okay, so now, guess what? We did the antibiotics, so the yeast turns into fungus, and the fungus is a drill bit predator because guess what? I already told you this the other day. You go into the forest, if the tree's dying, guess what happens? There's holes going through it. Those holes are actually fungus, and okay, and it's drilling holes through it to make it ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The tree is dead, or it's to the point it's dead, or it's dying. So now it's going to go back to where it came from. So you're still alive, but now you turned on the death vibe. You are headed back to where you came from. Okay, so guess what? Cars rust. And you're rotting. Cars rust, but you rot. And understand something right now. Whether you believe it or not, what's going to take more people down is they're rotting out. And that, plus they don't have Tesla lightwear. The only glasses in the world that turn blue light into healing light and frequency to heal your body. And people will never buy them because anything that works is expensive usually, isn't it? But the reality is blue blockers don't work. Right now, I've never seen so much energy, on blue blockers because guess what? Nobody's told that Blue light is the most toxic thing that we have now. It's more toxic than the 5G. Causes the worst free radicals on the planet. Blue light is what's causing, okay, what is it causing? All the turbo diseases. Nobody's talking about it. Everybody's blaming it on the B. It's not true. Yes, the B isn't going to help. But how many people are having turbo diseases that never got the B? So what's your thing now? It's the invisible. And yes, if you were to clean up and go on a whole plant-based diet, do daily cleansing tea, black gold for the large intestine, do the ultimate coffee enema for your liver, and then do vaginal infusions if you're a woman, and then do therapeutic vomiting to clean and restore your stomach. It's the only way. The only way to restore the stomach is therapeutic vomiting. And we're on at 1 o'clock today, right? Remember? I forgot. Ooh, it's a good thing I said it. Okay. All right. So anyways, so now what you've done is you took the yeast, you made it into fungus, and now they're drilling holes through your large intestine. That's why, guess what? When they say you've got leaky gut, now where do you think leaky gut is? It's a leaky large intestine, and now you've got a screen door in a submarine in your large intestine. You know what you're doing? You got the bad bacteria getting into your blood and getting into your pelvis. This is called a pelvic bowl. We're going to start in a second, and we're going to go through this. I'll come over here. We'll walk through to the other end. So the yeast is now fungus. And guess what? When somebody says you've got systemic candidiasis, you know what that means? You got fungus throughout your whole body. If you got vaginitis, okay, you've got leaky gut, which is leaky large intestine. You got sinusitis, you've got that. You got eczema, you got psoriasis, you got arthritis, you got colitis. Oh my God. Name me anything. Name me almost anything. It's a side effect. Okay? So until you do what? Until you heal the large intestine, you're going to be fighting a battle for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. And you got to go hardcore. At least daily cleansing tea, black gold. You know, you got to do this. And guess what? If you were to do daily cleansing tea twice a day and black gold twice a day in a blender drink or soup or something, you're never going to have this problem. And guess what? The more holes you have, the longer it takes to heal. The longer you have the holes, the more you're running a program. The longer and the stronger I do something, the more embedded it becomes. Yes? I told you that the programs you run here are running in your cells. If you're a victim, every cell is a victim. You understand? You have to change here. And if you don't want to change here, then you've got to do a lot of other things. You're going to have to work a lot harder. So what we want to do is we want to work on an emotional and we want to work on a physical level, right? So the good bacteria turns bad. Now, does anybody know, remember what I said, that the bacteria talks 9 times to the body and the brain only talks once for every 9 times the bacteria talk? So guess what? What if I was right or I wasn't right, but what if the last study was right, that only, 2% of the American population has 5% good bacteria when they're supposed to have a minimum of 85? That means that most of the information coming off the bacteria, because they're bad, would be wrong. I don't know why I'm mad. I don't know why I feel miserable. I don't know why I'm tired. I don't know why. And that's the truth. So what happens is, and people don't get this, but your community, the most important community, is in your bowel. It's your bacteria. Second to that, it's your cells. That's your first community. Yeah, you know? Oh, I need to join a community. Well, first join this one. Okay? All right? Okay. So now we've got to take a look at really what's going on, because environment dictates everything. Louis Pasteur on his deathbed said, I'm a liar. That's right. He said the bug means nothing. Did you get that, everyone? Okay? The bad bug means nothing. He said, do not try to kill the bad bug. Change the environment. He was paid off to say this. Go look it up. Okay? The bug means nothing, the environment means everything. So isn't that the truth? All right? So the environment in your home, does that affect you? All right. Okay. So let's do this. If it's not true, let's just do this. If the environment doesn't matter in your bowel, then let's all just take a crap on the toilet and don't flush it. And then just keep coming back and crap over there. Keep crapping, keep crapping, keep crapping. And understand something. Right now, you know damn well that most of you are going, oh God, I know there's just a little bit more that could come out. And then what about the days that you don't go? You go once. What about the days that you go and it's really stinky? What about the days that you go and it's diarrhea? What about this? Okay. Where's Patrick? Patrick asked me to talk to somebody and I did a consult on them. I said, man, your bowels are a mess. And he goes, no, they're not. And I go, well, what did you have for a bowel movement? Well, he goes, well, it wasn't as good as usual, but it came out and it looked like little rabbit turds. I go, that's called impaction. That means that you are impacted with waste. When it comes out like a ribbon, that means that you already have an itis. Itis means inflammation, and you have bowel constrictions. That's why you come out with ribbons. You're not supposed to come out with a ribbon. If everybody would do me a favor, take your finger. That it needs to be at least this wide. There, that's your poop. That's your poop. And then it's tapered at the end. It doesn't have cracks in it. It doesn't have mucus on it. It's smooth. It almost looks like toothpaste, but just, bigger, right? Okay? It's not like this big lump that splashes your butt. Okay? And then it doesn't sink to the bottom because it's got oxygen. And then it doesn't float at the top and have bubbles because that's fermentation. Are you with me? So now, how many have a good bowel movement? Please don't lie. Yeah, not good. Okay, I've smelled some of you. Okay, so understand this. People will say to me, how long is it going to take? Well, do these steps, right? And how about this? Within days, we'll relieve most of your symptoms. But it's going to take 9 months to a year to reestablish and create a new program within all these cells. 9 months to a... Yeah, impatient. So when you're impatient, you'll remain a patient. Okay? If you want a healing, then start feeling your body and start loving it and caring for it. So understand something. It's all bullshit. Excuse my French, but it's all bullshit. Nobody heals from taking a pill. Some people get a thrill from a pill, but they don't heal from a pill. Okay? The healing has to come with reprogramming. Do you understand? You're reprogramming the cell. Now I'm going to go through this, and then we're going to come right to this, and then we'll walk through here. Are you starting to get it? Okay. All right. So, let's talk about, just before we go further, just know this. Okay. If I had a manure pile, and have you ever been to the farm and you were looking for worms and you tip the manure over and you see the gas come up?
Yeah.
Does gas rise?
Yes.
Well, don't ask yourself why you have gum disease. There is no gum disease, it's bum disease. Did you get that? There is no gum disease, it's bum disease. Did you get that? Okay? And understand something. Your teeth, they're not teeth, they're bones. And if you've got bad breath, what do you got? You got bad bacteria in your mouth. And if you've got bad bacteria in your mouth, then you've got infection. And if you got infection, you got inflammation. And if you got inflammation, we know that we steal the calcium from the bones so that we can alkaline the area so that we end up not getting really sick, right? They call it cancer. So you don't want to go to stage 4 inflammation, so you lose calcium to try to buffer that down. I don't know why. My jaw, I'm losing bone. My teeth are falling apart. They're cracking. They're crumbling. Well, that's because bum disease, gum disease. You're never going to be told this from a dentist. Dentists are not doctors. We know that. Okay, they put silver fillings in that are 47% mercury. And the mercury, okay, that's in those fillings, the EPA will not allow it in the environment, but you're allowed to put it into your mouth because guess what? Who runs the Dental Association in North America, the Rockefellers. Why do you think they invented Halloween? All the sugar, right? Why do you think you've been programmed every time you listen? If you're really good, mommy's going to poison you. I'm going to take you for a treat. You never gave your kids a treat unless it was poison. All right? And there are so many treats you can give your kids that aren't poison. Okay? So they want to, if they can rot the teeth out, they can get the mercury in. If they can get the mercury in, then they can calcify the pineal, and then they can take those beautiful little Yodas, geniuses, spirit beings, and dumb them down forever. And then, if we can actually, okay, create, okay, problems in the mouth and enough bad bacteria, and you know what? How many people know that when a child gets tonsillitis or someone does, it's a blockage in the cecum? The tonsils are a lymph node, and they go, alarm system. And I can't swallow. What tonsillitis? I can't swallow. Well, yeah, you're backed up with poop in your cecum. As soon as you get rid of that and you get your bowels moving, tonsillitis goes away. So now cut the lymph nodes out, and guess what? My tonsils were cut out, and it's been scientifically proven. This is why I'm probably a dumbo, but when you cut out the tonsils, you actually bring down the intelligent level of that person. And there are many, many schools in Europe that if you had your tonsils cut out, they will not let you come into the school. Just remember, the tonsils have no purpose, and guess what they are for? The tonsils make lymphocytes. They make infection fighters for your throat to try to protect you. But when your bowel gets blocked in your cecum area, it goes off like an alarm. Remember, we don't need our tonsils, we don't need our appendix, we don't need our gallbladder. God just got it wrong. Got it all wrong. You know, I was thinking there's a few more things I don't think I need. I'm going to go in and get rid of them. They're just taking up space. Okay? If you ever look at anybody and they've got lights of their eyes are kind of a blue, they're so affected with parasites. Okay, nose pickers, parasites. Itchy ears, fungus, maybe parasites too. You know, itchy skin all the time, could be dry skin, but you know, skin brush, if it doesn't go away, it's probably parasites. Anal itching, well, you might not have wiped good, but if you did and you have anal itching, you know you have worms. Okay? All right? Those are just a few things. But understand, parasite symptoms are every for you. But the problem is they throw up and they poop, especially the worms. And people say that parasites cause cancer, and I'm telling you it's not true. I will debate anybody any day on my show. You have to understand something. Here it is. But parasites will add to the disease, won't they? With their pooping and their throwing up, right? Of course they will. And they wouldn't be in the environment if the environment was in low vibrational. A parasite's not going to come. Here we go. 0.04 volts. I already said it, but I'm going to nail it. And then you guys, you need to take this video and learn this. Okay? Okay, so a cell has 0.04 volts. In the average adult, that's 2 trillion volts. And this is what the psycho entity on this planet is after, your voltage. That's their high. So they have to create suffering, okay? They have to create pain, and they have to create disease to get as much voltage out of you as possible. So now, 0.04 volts, that's a healthy cell. Now here's what happens. If that voltage drops because of negative thoughts, negative programs, negative eating, right, which is toxic eating, toxic the way you treat yourself, okay? If that voltage goes from 0.04 volts and drops 15%, pain, inflammation kicks in. As we continue, because we don't know how to look after ourselves or realign ourselves, in between the 15 and the 25, you're going to get what? Stiffness and swelling. So the pain, okay, the pain is the alarm that there's too much infection. If the infection stays long enough, the next alarm goes off called inflammation. Inflammation means there's enough infection. If I had a fire in here, it's eating up the oxygen, right? Help me out. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Fire eats oxygen. That's why it goes.
Yeah.
If I were to take the oxygen out, I couldn't start a match if there was no oxygen in this place. So inflammation means inflame. Inflammation means inflame, so it's eating up the oxygen, but it's also dehydrating the tissues in the area. There's your beef jerky. When you go to the store and you buy the beef jerky, it's a 1/4 inch thick. It used to be 1 inch. Now it's dehydrated down. Okay? And that's what the doctors come and cut out, is the beef jerky. That, guess what? Cell-sonic regeneration, Wolfe Non-Surgical, nutraceuticals, proper diet, we can get the beef jerky to come back to live, living tissue as if it was never there. And that's why they're scared of us. Think about it. If people were to know this, would that be threatening to the whole system?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now what we've got is so the stiffness is actually the dehydration. Because if I'm dehydrating the tendon, the ligament, oh, how about the disc in between your vertebrae? And so we're losing the moisture. So then we think that we're losing our discs, but we're not. It's just dehydrated. We can bring those back with the same thing I just told you. Or how about this? Now you're bone on bone in your hips or in your knee, but you're not bone on bone. It's just you pulled the calcification out of your bones to alkaline the tissues that were inflamed because now they're acidic, and if you have too much acidity and you lose too much oxygen in the cells, well, we're going to talk about that in a second. So calcification, okay, scar tissue formation, and understand something. What happens if the area gets too weak? The body will send extra fibrin and even more calcium. Why? Because it wants to wall in the infection and it knows the parasites are coming. So at the 15% drop in electrical conductivity, you get 15% drop in oxygen. So now in between the 15 and the 25, you get the symptoms of stiffness and swelling. The swelling is, well, if there's a fire, do we call the fire truck? Mm-hmm. Now, is it the fire truck's fault that it's there? No. But everybody wants to get rid of the swelling, right? You get rid of the swelling, you still have the inflammation that was caused from the infection. You just increased the disease, and now you're creating more suffocation. So in between the 15 and the 25, all this goes on. Once it hits 25, now you've lost 25% of your electrical conductivity. Guess what happens? An alarm goes out to parasites, because when it hits 25, you have decomposing tissue. The parasites are supposed to come and eat it. And you're supposed to wake up. They're supposed to eat the tissue, but you're supposed to wake up, look after yourself, and then they will leave. They will die off if there's not the right environment. Did you hear what I just said? Okay. But that doesn't happen, right? Because we all took the same path, the beaten one. Okay. So now what happens is now we go to what? 25% lack of oxygen? Okay. So what happens is it's parasiteville. And now you start pulling calcium like crazy in your body because they know the parasites are coming, and we want to protect the area, but the parasites are supposed to go in and eat up the decomposing tissue and the rotting. Well, isn't that what parasites do? Anaerobic bugs and worms go in to eat up the rotten tree or the rotten animal. And we are like animals. Guys, I mean, how clear do you have to make it? So now, you're at 25%. Now, how many people wake up to that? So now we got worms, and guess what? You didn't change your personality. You didn't change reality. What you did was maybe you're doing a dewormer like ivermectin, and if you're going to buy ivermectin, you got to get it from India, the only place that's non-toxic. The ivermectin in the United States has graphene in it. The ivermectin from Mexico is really toxic. So, but if you want to do the ivermectin, you're going to kill the adults, and then you're going to have.
Can I get this off here, please?
So, anyways.
Can you back it up on the ivermectin, please?
Okay, all right. Who is this guy? Who let him in? I feel like I've been attacked by a parasite. Okay, so if you want to do ivermectin, go ahead. I mean, it's the latest, greatest, isn't it? I'm not saying it doesn't save lives, but don't understand, make something. It may save your life, but it's not going to make your life. It may save your life, but it's not going to make your life. Do ivermectin, and guess what? I said already. Do not buy ivermectin from the United States. It's got graphene in it. Well, why wouldn't it? Everything's a setup. Don't buy it from Mexico because it's highly toxic. Okay, buy it from India. We know it's clean. Okay, all right? So if you do ivermectin, you're going to kill the adults. So guess what? There's no intelligence out there. I think we do have to go into the universe and go to another planet. Okay? Because when you go and you use ivermectin and you kill all the adults, you've got all these carcasses in you. How many people know that parasites actually will put off a hormone so the eggs they lay don't hatch until they're done? Once they're done, those parasites are done, they leave the body or they die, the hormone's no longer there stopping the eggs from hatching, so the new eggs hatch. So you go and you kill all the adults, and now all the eggs are going to hatch 10 days later. How's that for intelligence? And then most of these people that take ivermectin, they want the shortcut to grandma's house. And the reality is that most people that they take this aren't healthy. Yep. I'll never need ivermectin. Did you hear me? And people are right now going, he'll get his. He'll get his. No, you're already getting yours for being so nasty. Okay? So, what happens when you do this is now those babies hatch, and now you got to do ivermectin again. Now, what would have happened, and this is not the right way, I'm not an ivermectin fan. If it's like antibiotics. You don't take an antibiotic unless you're in a life-threatening situation, unless you want a life-threatening situation. Tell me I'm wrong.
Like what?
Huh?
Like when is antibiotics?
Well,
okay?
first of all, I will never be there. I'm talking about the person that hasn't looked after themselves. And they are so riddled with bad bacteria in their body that we're losing this person. And there's no time to do an advanced water fast, an ultimate coffee enema, daily cleansing tea, black gold, or switch to the diet. This person is going to go into a coma. Okay? Remember that your blood, okay, cannot lower in its pH. If it lowers in its pH just slightly, you go into coma. That's why people go into coma. If it lowers a little bit more than that, you die. And that's why everybody you see has high cholesterol, because the cholesterol is there to goop the cracks of the arteries. Okay, first of all, why don't you go back and do your research? 120 years ago, cholesterol levels were allowed to be how high? 300 to 320. And then all of a sudden, the human body changed, and now, guess what? If you're around 250, okay, or even 210 with some doctors, they're going to put you on cholesterol meds. And cholesterol meds are statins, and statins only do one thing. They totally stop the production, okay, of cholesterol. So now, no cholesterol for your brain. Your brain's made out of 50% cholesterol. So now it shrivels up like a raisin, and now you've got Alzheimer's, okay? Just know this. Your nerves are all made out of myelin, which is made out of cholesterol. And if you don't know this, when people have higher cholesterol, it's actually for their arteries. When you don't know that you are abusive to yourself and you're not honoring yourself, you don't know how. In those arteries, in the walls, like in the walls here, there's minerals. Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
There's minerals in his walls, but these are rock minerals. Okay, now you've got minerals that line your arteries to make them strong. Minerals are everything. So when you become acidic, we can't allow your blood to get acidic. I told you you'd go into a coma or die. So instead of doing that, we're going to pull the minerals first out of the arterial walls. That causes cracks in the arterial walls. Now, what do you think is going to happen? Your body's not stupid. Now you've created a crack in the arterial wall. You ready for this? It's going to take time to heal it because your situation isn't in a healing vibration. So what happens is the body says we need to send lots of calcium into that blood to keep it alkaline. Because that's what it does. Now what happens here is that it's microscopic, but the actual calcium looks like a coral shard, a sharp piece of glass. Okay, so that's how it breaks off. It's got jagged edges. So it comes in, and it won't harm the walls, but that crack, if it gets caught in the crack, it could poke it. And if it pokes it and you get a blood clot, how many people here know that most heart attacks and strokes are caused because of what I just said, and you've never been told that? How's that for a dirty little secret? Now, what's going to happen to that person who takes the statins that don't make cholesterol anymore? Because cholesterol is like candle wax. It's supposed to go into your blood and goop up that crack until it heals, so that no calcium or anything can poke at it to create a blood clot. How's that for amazing? And understand something, you're never going to figure this out. Well, you would, but you're going to have to be like me. Go down the rabbit hole, and you'll get a piece here, and you'll get a piece here, and you'll get a piece here, and it's just like you got to piece all this stuff together yourself. Okay? So cholesterol, I can't make enough cholesterol, right? So nobody dies of too much cholesterol. And understand something, arteriosclerosis, does anybody know what that is? Calcification in scar tissue. Calcification in scar tissue. It's not a cholesterol problem. The cholesterol is taking the fall, because if you actually told that it was a calcification scar tissue problem, you'd know what to do. So now we victimize cholesterol. That's it. Okay? Do you understand?
Yeah. So can you just reiterate, when is it okay for antibiotics? When someone's about to go into a coma, that's the only...
You'll know. They're in a life-threatening situation. They're in a 911 emergency. Okay, let's just put it this way. They're not the end of the world. But right now, in your family, everybody's family, there can be just a fever, there can be just an itis somewhere, an inflammation somewhere in the body. And now, if you're medically oriented, you're going to attack it that way. That's what I'm talking about. You know, you take a look at how often people get antibiotics. And then remember something, do we really want to forget this? No, you better not. How many people can eat organic free-range meat and chicken? Do they have enough money? Do they have enough money? No, they don't. So know that the majority of the population, we buy organic when we can. I get it. I get it. So understand, antibiotics are not put into animals, okay, to help them when they get sick. Antibiotics are put into animals to make you sick. So if you eat meat every day and it's not organic, you've taken one heavy-duty dose if you eat meat every day. You've taken one heavy-duty dose for that week. So now so when I say to people, are you on antibiotics? No. Do you eat any animal products like chicken or meat or what about fish? We eat fish. Okay. Well, is it factory farm? I don't know. Well, if you don't know, then it is. If it doesn't state it at the restaurant that it's wild, Alaskan, salmon, and it doesn't say anything, it just says salmon, well, then we know that. And you know that every time you have one piece of that, you've just reinfected yourself. You have. That's it. It's over. You reinfected yourself. So now what about this? What about your yogurt? What about your yogurt? Okay, like, hey, listen, there's a big breakthrough, okay? It's called Greek yogurt. It's better than all the rest. The Greeks do it better, you know? And tell me that people don't fall for this. Oh, do you eat yogurt? Yeah, I eat Greek yogurt. Oh, wow, there's a lot of brothers and sisters here. All the Greek yogurt people come together. Yes, no more yo play. Yeah, Greek yogurt. Okay, listen. The bacteria in the yogurt are cow's dead bacteria. Go rock on. Now, the yogurt is pasteurized, so it's highly acidic. And then it has what in it? Casein. Casein is a poison to humans. But you may not feel the inflammation, but it's infecting you continually. Are you with me? If you're going to do yogurt, make coconut yogurt. Okay? All right? That's what you should do. You should make coconut yogurt. You know, there's always a way around this, and it'll sit lighter in you. Got it, you know? But then, you know, but here's the problem. The vegetarians, the hardcore ones, will fight to death. The meat eaters will fight to death. I'll fight for that. You know what? Why do we have to fight for anything? Just look at how you feel. Look at how you look. All right? And then use your head. If you want to eat meat, okay, all right, make sure that you chew it until it's a liquid. Okay? Make sure your food combine. Okay? Don't be taking it down in chunks. I mean, how many people can actually digest a dead carcass? So, okay, nothing collects bugs better than decomposing meat. Okay? Do you understand that? So I'm not telling people not to do it. And then just eat less. Meat eaters eat too much at a meal. Okay? Now, whether you want to believe this or not, does everybody remember, what was his name now?
John Wayne.
No. Saddle up. She was going to bring about John Wayne because John Wayne had 40 pounds of fecal waste in his large intestine. Elvis Presley had 60. So yeah, okay? And he died on the throne, trying to have a bowel movement. Okay? All right? But that's not what I was going to talk about. It was, I'm trying to remember his name. Right now we're into the keto diet, right? Well, mine is a whole plant-based keto diet. So meat eaters believe you can't get the amino acids that you want from whole plant-based eating, okay? And whole plant-based eaters or vegetarians believe that meat eaters are the devil. So I'm not going to take any sides for anyone. I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to ever eat any meat. I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to make it a main base for my body. It's just not happening. Well, because why? Guess what? Everybody gets caught on a philosophy. They don't actually check in with themselves. How do I feel after that meal? How did I feel in the morning after that meal? How have I felt by eating that kind of way? All right? First of all, when I was a vegetarian, I was never weaker. I was never so dull in the head. Okay? When I became a whole plant-based eater, that's the best I've ever felt. When I was eating animal products, okay, first of all, vegetarianism was the worst. Eating animal products daily almost killed me. Okay? It did. I'm telling you the truth. Then moving into whole plant-based eating and actually understanding the science that, you know, life gives life, whole plant-based eating, 85% of your diet needs to be, ready? Poison-free and alive. And that doesn't mean that you're going to bite the ass out of an animal. I'm talking about live foods that are high in enzymes, high in what? Minerals, high in nutrients, okay? All right? Okay, and they are fresh. And this is why you go local, you know? You don't buy local to help your local person, but if you just did the right thing for yourself, you'd be helping your local person. That's how this works. And if you want to do a community, start your own community, your own co-op. You could have 10 friends. That's enough. to actually buy really good vegetables, lentils, beans, meats, chicken. You come together, you're like a store. Now you're going to get a discount. So we need to come together. Anyways, we're not going to get over here anytime quick. All right. Is there any questions? Because I think we're going to break for lunch, and then we'll come back at lunch, and then I'll just walk over to the chart, and then this will take an hour for us to get through, because understand, you've got to understand this. Guess what? Until you meet me, or somebody like me, your bowel never even got a second thought from you. Never got a second thought. You didn't realize it was a compost. You didn't realize it had 85% of your immune system. You didn't realize anything. You didn't realize that every time that you get bloated, you're rotting. Every time you bloat, you rot. Every time that you can't think straight after a meal, you rot. Every time that you go to eat the meal, I'm starving, and then you start eating and glucose gets into you, and then guess what? Before you're even done your meal, you're more tired than when you started. You did it wrong. That's it. Why aren't you checking in with yourself before you're wrecking yourself? Check yourself before you wreck yourself, because no one else gives a crap about you. And they don't give a crap, okay? And now I'm not talking bowel movement. They don't care. They don't care about you because they don't know how to care for themselves. Tell me that your parents knew how to care for you. Yeah, tell me that every adult is in a danger to every child born. And that's the truth. And it's all set up by the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, medical system, government. Please, let me tell you something. I hope that this president, this new change, does everything that everybody fantasizes for. But until that happens, I'm going to take massive action and know that I haven't seen any changes. And until I see that children are free from toxic parents, because that's where it starts. It starts in the home. It starts with you shop. Let me see every parent go like this. I'm not going to bring anything toxic into the house anymore. Not one thing. If we have to leave our house, we have to leave our property to poison our children. You think about that. And guess what? I can ask anybody, do you have a good diet? Right? And meanwhile, their kids are sick, they're sick. You know what? If you have a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle, you never get a cold or a flu. You never get a cold or a flu. When I coughed the other day, it's only because I didn't drink enough liquid and I'm talking so much. You haven't seen me sick at all. You never will. I don't hide it. Oh God, honey, it's a good thing I finished. I was going to faint. Probably have a fever. No, I can't tell anybody. Why don't you want the best life ever? And just know this, the majority of the population are never going to have the best life ever. Never! The majority are never. Oh no, there's going to be a trumpet that's going to sound off. The big trumpet. And everybody's just going to wake up. We're all going to love each other and care for each other. Oh my God, I can't wait. You don't mind if I don't wait, do you? Okay, understand, I'm using sarcasm, not because miracles don't happen. I'm trying to tell